A child raised a silent signal, frightened and alone, and everyone passed by, except for one soldier. He saw what no one else saw, and what he did next changed 2 lives forever. You'd think something like that would make headlines, right? But no, it just sort of happened. Quiet, unnoticed. Unless you were there, it was one of those dead silent summer afternoons in Millfield. Not the good kind of silence, either. I'm talking that thick, heavy hush that hangs in the air like the whole town's holding its breath. Asphalt shimmering like it was sweating bullets. The kind of heat that makes even time feel stuck. No breeze, not even a whisper. Just the steady beat of boots against the pavement, click-clack, like some slow, ticking countdown. I was on my last lap. Or at least, that's what I told myself. My knees said otherwise. You reach a point, you stop counting the years and birthdays and start counting and back pain and joint clicks. You know what I mean? But I kept going. Sweat pouring down my face, soaked through my gray tank top, muscles sore, but remembering what it used to mean to be 20. On my left was Miguel, built like a fridge but ran like a dancer. Quiet guy, no nonsense, always had your six. To my right, Harper, redhead, opinionated as hell, fast talker, tech wizard, and the kind of guy who'd take a punch for you. No questions asked. He was wheezing already, muttering something about only one more damn lap. But I knew we'd do 2 more before we stopped. He knew it too. He just needed to complain first that we hit the curve near the school, that old brick building next to the elementary yard. That's when I saw him, the kid, barefoot on the curb, standing there like he'd been dropped out of the sky. Thin, way too thin, buzzcut head, wearing a t-shirt 2 sizes too big and stained at the hem. His eyes, man, they weren't crying, but they were screaming. You ever see eyes like that? Like he wanted to disappear, but also wanted someone to notice. Just one damn person to notice at first. I almost didn't. You get used to zoning out on these runs. Focus on your breath, your pace. But something in the way he held his hand. Not waving, not pointing, just raising it, real slow, palm out like a signal only one kind of person would recognize. It hit me like a sucker punch. That was the silent hand sign, the one they taught in those PSA videos. The I'm not safe sign. Thumb tucked in, fingers folded down. Blink and you'd miss it. I stopped mid-stride. Harper nearly crashed into me, cursing as he stumbled. Miguel gave me a look, but I was already moving toward the kid. Slow, careful, like approaching a wounded animal. I knelt down and said, soft, "You okay, buddy?" The kid flinched, didn't say a word, just looked past me like he was bracing for a slap that never came. That's when the door to the brick house behind him swung open. She stepped out, a woman, mid-30s maybe, pretty in a brittle sort of way. Her smile was stretched tight, like she was wearing it for someone else. "Everything all right, officer?" she called out, too sweet, too quick. I wasn't in uniform, but something about me, maybe the stance, maybe the eyes, made people ask that. Before I could speak, the kid dropped his arm, eyes wide. And I got it. I got it. This wasn't just fear. This was control. Like he was trained not to speak. Like he knew exactly what not to do. Just admiring your front yard. I lied, standing up slowly. Didn't mean to spook anyone. Her smile faltered just a tick. Well, he likes to play out here. Gets bored inside. Miguel was watching her now. Harper was fidgeting, but I could tell he sensed it too. Something was off. We finished the run. I didn't say anything. Not yet. But the image of that kid, standing so still with that quiet, begging signal, it stuck with me. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning, trying to tell myself it was nothing. That maybe I'd misunderstood. But gut instinct is like a damn smoke alarm. You can ignore it, but it keeps beeping until you do something. So I did. I went back the next day. In uniform this time. Knocked on the door. No answer. Next day, same. Third day, I brought back someone from base who knew how to play the game quieter. Lena, a psychologist with this disarming smile and a way of getting people to talk without realizing they're saying too much. We tried again. This time the woman answered. The boy wasn't with her, but Lena. Lena got her talking. Long story short, that wasn't her kid, he was her sister's, or so she claimed. left in her care after some trouble back home. The story had holes the size of a truck. The more questions we asked, the more nervous she got. Eventually, we brought in child services. They found out the boy's real name wasn't what she'd said. He'd been listed missing for 6 months, vanished from a shelter 2 states over. No one knew how he got here. No one even looked, until a soldier on a run saw a silent cry for help. They arrested the woman. Kid went into proper foster care, somewhere safer, with real oversight. I still check in sometimes, through back channels. Last I heard, he was doing better, drawing again, laughing a little, and here's the twist: a week after she was taken in, we got a tip from another neighbor. They'd seen the sign before, twice. They just didn't know what it meant. Thought it was a game, a wave, a twitch. That's the part that guts me, because the system didn't fail just once, it failed again and again in silence. And all it would have taken was one person knowing what to look for. I keep thinking about that. How many other kids are out there doing that same little motion, hoping someone understands? And how many people are just walking by, not seeing a thing? Some nights, I still hear that sound. The echo of boots on pavement, the air thick with heat. The moment, everything almost stayed hidden, but it didn't. Not that time, because one kid, too scared to scream, dared to raise his hand. And someone SAW'd. So now I ask you, what would you have done? Would you have stopped? Would you have noticed? Or would you still be running? Let me know what you think. Was this justice? Was it luck? Or just a crack in the wall big enough to slip one's soul through? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you believe. And maybe, just maybe, keep an eye out next time. You never know who's asking for help without saying a word. So, here's the thing they don't tell you. Saving someone, even once, doesn't mean you get to walk away with clean hands or a clear head. People like to think these stories end neat. A bad guy gets hauled off, the kid gets help, cue the credits. But real life? It lingers. About 3 weeks after that whole mess, I was back on base, filling out the kind of paperwork that makes you want to eat your own pen. Reports, referrals, agency contacts. The red tape never ends. Miguel walks in, drops a file on my desk, and just says, real low. She had priors. Priors? 3. Different counties. Under different names. Turns out the woman, let's call her Tina for now, had done this before. Not exactly the same playbook, but close enough. Fostered or took in vulnerable kids, moved them around, kept them just enough under the radar to avoid triggering alarms. And you want to hear the real kicker? She never got charged on any of those. Not once. Technicalities. Lack of evidence. Kids too scared to talk. One kid, a girl from Arkansas, tried to testify. Froze up in court. Case dropped. That's when the anger kicked in. You know, I didn't grow up planning to be a soldier. I wanted to be a teacher, actually. History. I like stories, especially the ones where people stood up when no one else would. But life had other plans. I enlisted at 20, thinking I'd stay for a few years, maybe earn a degree on the side. 25 years later, here I am, chasing ghosts and broken systems instead of enemy combatants. But Tina wasn't just a fluke. She was a symptom. And once you see the cracks, you start seeing them everywhere. One morning, Harper storms into the mess hall with this wild look on his face, laptop in hand, yelling, "Dude, you're not gonna believe this." I swear I thought he found a new conspiracy theory or something, but nope. He pulls up a post on this underground forum. It's a thread where people, mostly teens, are trading info on those silent distress signals. Some are just asking, does this work? Others are sharing stories, some real, some maybe not. But it's there. The kids know they're not being heard. They're building their own language just to get through. Harper, being Harper, digs deeper. He finds 3 more reports, different towns, different kids, all flashing the same sign. And each time, almost missed. Except one. That one didn't make it. Girl in Georgia. Same signal. Spotted in the background of a TikTok dance video, of all things. People noticed too late. I won't go into detail, but it still makes me sick. That's when I decided I was done waiting for the system to catch up. I started going back to the elementary school. Volunteering. Not in uniform. just as a guy with time and a pair of ears. I'd sit on the benches near the playground, hand out water, patch up scrapes. The kids started calling me Coach D. No idea why, but it stuck. One kid, a wiry little thing named Malik, sat next to me one day and asked, "Why do you come here? You don't even work here." I told him the truth. Because sometimes the people who were supposed to see you don't. He stared at me for a long beat, then just said, "Yeah, my uncle says that too. Except he says it when I ask why mom never calls." That hit me like a freight train. That I realized in that moment. Sometimes we're waiting for this big rescue, this dramatic showdown. But most kids, they don't even need a hero. They just need someone present. There was another twist, though. About a month later, I get a call from Lena, the psychologist from base. She's quiet on the line. Says there's a situation. A kid who's been through some rough stuff, acting withdrawn, might recognize me. You guessed it was him, the boy from the sidewalk. Turns out his real name was Eli. 8 years old. Loved dinosaurs. Had a stutter that came and went depending on how scared he felt. When Lena brought up my name, he didn't say anything. Just nodded once. Asked if I had a dog. I didn't. But I lied and said yes. Told him it was a big dumb mutt named Peanut who eats my shoes and howls at the mailman. He smiled for the first time. That was enough. I visited once a week. Just sat with him. Talked about silly stuff. Taught him how to toss a football. Watched him slowly come back to life, like a dimmer switch being turned up one notch at a time. But here's where the story veers again. Because one day, out of the blue, his birth mom shows up. Yeah, her. She had been in rehab. Court-ordered. 3 stints. And now, she was clean. At least for now. She wanted him back. The state had to consider it. Legally, she had a shot. And man, let me tell you, I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to believe in redemption. In second chances. The other part, the soldier part, it just wanted to shield that kid from any more risk, ever again. They let him decide. Can you imagine that? 8 years old, sitting in a room with 2 lawyers, a judge, a caseworker, and being asked, "Do you want to go back?" He looked at me before he answered. Not his mom. Not the social worker dummy. And all I did was nod. Like, whatever you choose, kid. I got you. He chose to stay in foster care. Said he wanted to wait longer. Maybe one day. But not yet, his mom cried. Didn't make a scene. Just left the room with her head down. It wasn't a happy ending. It wasn't a tragic one either. Just real. And in a way, that's enough. So now, every few weeks, I still get these letters. Crayon drawings. Stick figures with huge heads. Me, Eli, and Peanut, the imaginary dog I guess I'm stuck with now. Sometimes he sends riddles. Once he sent me a note that just said, "Don't forget to wear sunscreen or you'll look like a tomato." And you know what? I keep every single one. Because sometimes the war you fight isn't overseas. It's not with guns or gear. It's quiet, slow, personal, one kid at a time. And the victories, they're measured in smiles, not medals. But now I'm asking you, yeah, you, listening to this, would you have stopped? Would you have seen it? Do we even know what cries for help look like anymore? Or are we so wrapped up in ourselves that we miss the quietest voices? Drop a comment. Let's talk about it. Because maybe, just maybe, the next life someone saves might be yours to notice.